I've allowed myself to be inspired by the Enlightenment thinkers. Individual freedom, reason, as opposed to leading your life according to a set of so-called divine ideas. The recognition that human reason is frail and that we live by trial and error. And things such as doubt and critical thinking are central to that way of living. You have to be prepared to change your mind at all times. There are things that you, of course, cannot change your mind about, such as, and you should be as dogmatic in as anything else, and that is the freedom, like the freedom, I think it was someone who said, to swing your hand and take a punch at me ends where your nose meets mine, that kind of thing. So just basic freedoms. I also believe in human progress, and I think in that I differ from some of the Enlightenment thinkers who thought, very few of them by the way, that humanity was doomed to self-destruct. I think we can self-destruct, but we can also find our way out of it. Some of the Islamic teachings, especially at the very beginning, were about charity and kindness and generosity. And I've retained those. I think those are important social values that are good for all of us to live by, to try to live by, and to pass on to later generations. We as Muslim women now, when I was a Muslim woman, we were brought up to believe in our own submission. Submission to the will of God, submission to the will of your parents, submission to the will of your husband. And submission to the will of the husband is absolute, except when he asks you to forsake Allah. Now, if we've been indoctrinated to believe that, then that's how we act, that's how we behave. But not all of us, and that's, I think, what's so fascinating about the human mind, is you cannot enslave the human entirely. Many of us have been exposed to other ideas. We have our own personalities that seek freedom. We can't, I think, wake up to the programming and deprogram ourselves. And if we become aware of the fact that what we are programming our kids from generation to generation is repressive, we can decide not to do that and to take on alternative ideas. We can, for instance, wake up to the fact that the God that says in chapter 4, verse 34, tells the husband you have the right to beat your woman, is the same God, after we are beaten and bruised, that we pray to for comfort. Just waking up to that dissonance alone will, I think, create the platform for change, will create the ground for change. Again, from the Enlightenment, to seek knowledge and be prepared to change your mind as your knowledge gains ground, to be giving and kind and be concerned with the condition of your fellow human beings, and to be truthful and kind. And I think the idea is that for that you don't need religion.